Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to get your image from the one on the left to the one on the right, all in Lightroom. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how I edit fast in Lightroom. I'm also going to show you how to quickly select all the skin, including the back of the hands and everything with just one click, and that saves a lot of time. And then finally, I'm going to leave a download link to a free preset at the end of the video. So once you apply the preset, you don't have to go through all these steps. But the only reason this video is a little long is that I'm going to explain every single step of the preset. So that's why this video might be a little long. I apologize in advance. But alright, quick introduction. My name is Salom. I'm a wedding photographer, and I edit a lot of pictures, so I'd rather do everything in Lightroom and not go to Photoshop. So I've been finding ways to make my life easier. So I'm here to just share some of the stuff I do. If you have better ideas, leave a comment below. I just want to learn, so let me know what I can do to make things faster. Alright, thank you. Now let's dive right in. Alright, hello guys. So here's my sophisticated diagram. Alright, so I have an 8200 back here as the backlight, and there's no diffusion. And then I have an 8600 as the key light, which has diffusion. And the key light, I try to keep it as close to the talent as possible. And the backlight, you want to move it back a little bit, and because we want that harsh rim light, that separates the talent from the background. So it kind of forms this diagonal line, and you want to shoot this way to the diagonal. If you move this way, you will get too much of the rim light in the shot, and if you move this way, then it becomes almost like a hair light. So it's all to taste. And so, but for this particular image, this is what I wanted to do, and so this is the diagram that I have here to back it up. All right, let's get back right in the video. All right, so now that everyone has seen the setup of the light, this is the image we got from that setup. The backlight, which is not diffused, is giving us this harsh rim light, which helps separate the talent from the background and helps the image pop. So I like to shoot slightly underexposed because I can always recover any information. But if you shoot overexposed and you blow out parts of the skin, and there's patches of the skin that you cannot get the information back, then you ruin the image. So let's start from the very top. First thing I'll do here is I'm going to select this box right here, and I'm going to hold and click down this button, this corner, and I'm going to adjust this until it's parallel to the top of the building, and that gives me that straightens the image. And don't worry about these lines because we were in a diagonal to this bridge, so it naturally has to go from here down, because this part was closer to us and that part was further away, so don't use that line as your horizon. Okay, now that we've done that, the next thing is the white balance. You can always start, a good spot to start from is auto, and auto gets you there somehow, but not all the time. So with this, I'm actually quite satisfied with the auto. What I'll do is I'll just give it a little bit more warmth, just a tad bit, because I think it works for her skin. Alright, so the next thing I'll do here is I'll move to the exposure. This is where I bring it up to a decent point, but not to the final point, because I know I'm going to bring up the whites and stuff later on. So I just bring this up a bit until I'm beginning to feel satisfied with the image. And the next thing is the contrast. Always add a little contrast, just a little bit, and then I might come back and add more depending on how sharp I want the image to be. So I'm going to start with plus 10 here. So a lot of these things I'm doing by eye. I'm looking at the image as you can click and look at the image as you edit along. So next is the highlight. So when you are shooting with OCF, unlike natural light natural light pictures that you want to pull the highlights all the way down, with OCF it's pretty much okay to have your highlights, because the highlights mostly affect the skin. I said mostly, but I pull it back just a little bit, because look what happens to the sky. If I pull it all the way down, the sky goes a little dark, and then I want the sky to be just a little dark, and then when I come back and I hit the subject with the whites, then she'll pop out a lot more. Okay, so I want to bring that down a little bit, and I'm going to open up the shadows a little bit to just make sure that I don't have too many blacks in here. And then now the whites. So the whites, you can do it globally, or you can pick a brush and then brush roughly over the subject and just let the subject pop a little bit. So today I'm just going to do globally for now, and that's already looking quite good. Now the technical way of doing the whites is that you hold down the Alt key and then you press the button, and then you keep pulling until you see a spot. Right now you can see a spot. There's a white dot right getting to the top, the top third. If you see the spot, that is your white point. You don't want to go further than that, otherwise you start blowing things out. And then the same with the black. You hold down the Alt key and you push down this button, and then you start bringing it back until you see your first black dots, like the very first black dot there. So that is like the technical, points. But I always look at the image. If I want more black, I pull it back. I pull it all the way back. It's not a restriction. Okay. So here, normally I would do a mild S curve, but this image is already a little punchy, and you have to be careful with the S curves, because I'm going to do a quick cheating dodge and burn. It's in the new Lightroom feature, so that will actually get rid of the need for the S curve for now. So I'm going to skip that, and I am going to, so for this image, there's too much yellow going on. It's not summer, and I just want two-tone. Two-tone images look pretty good. So I see her blue and stuff, and then teal, and we're gonna, okay, so for this image I'm just going to bring down the yellows. Bring it down all the way. Let's see what happened. Bring it up just a little bit. So this is the yellows normal, and then bring it down all the way. It just makes the subject more prominent, because the background is now a little bit more dull. It's like, you turn down the saturation, but I just turned off the yellows. And there are no greens here for real, but usually in the summer I don't like my greens to be completely gray, so take note of that. But I think we can get away with it this time. All right, so moving on. The next thing we do before we start working the magic with the brush is sharpening. Sharpening is very critical. So with sharpening, when you hit the Alt key and hit masking, where is masking? Right here. If you hit masking, everything is white. So what it does is that it sharpens everything that is white, and you don't want to sharpen everything in this image. So you hold down the Alt key and press this button right here to the right, and then you drag it forward. Hold on. Hold down the S key, press this button, and then keep dragging it forward. You keep dragging it until the whites are just the outlines of the image. You want it still around the eyes a little bit around the mouth, the nose, and the general outline of the image. And then if you shot at a pretty shallow depth of field, you should be able to get to this point where it's just outlining the image, and this is the sweet spot, and you stop right here. So now I'm going to apply sharpening. I'm not going to hold back, because I know it's only going to affect the places I want it to. So I can pretty much pull this all the way to maybe let's say 88, and that's it. Done with sharpening. Now luminance, I shot this with a Nikon Z6, so I mean, if somebody knows what I'm doing wrong, let me know down in the comments, because when I import my Z6 files, it automatically tries to apply some luminance to this and apply some sharpening, so I have to go back and do it the way I want. But it doesn't do that for my Z750, D750 and files. So somebody let me know if you know how to solve the problem. So somehow this is like the base noise reduction for the Z6, and I always like to pull it up a little from the base. If I were if this was from my old camera, 38 would probably have been too much. But with this image, 38 is not too much. As you can see, I'm gonna go here. There, the face is still sharp. So this is where you zoom in while you mess with the luminance to know what is happening to the face. All right, moving on. Vignette. Of course, we want to apply a little bit of a vignette. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit here and apply this vignette to it. Now that we've applied all the sliders, all this will be done for you automatically with the free preset that you're going to download. But just make sure you might have to work your white balance differently. Apart from the white balance, everything else should be quite similar. All right, so from this point on, the next thing we're going to do now is to select the skin and do some skin softening. So she already has pretty good skin right off the bat, so that doesn't always happen, but we're still going to do something small to it. So what I do here is I go and select an adjustment brush, and then I make it really big. I can even bring down the feathering a little bit, and then make sure down here you check auto mask. Make sure you check auto mask. Then make the brush so big that it covers all the parts of the skin that you want to select, like the face, the hands. If there's any spots anywhere else, make sure the brush is big enough to cover it all. Now the most important is the face, so I'm going to go to like the forehead right around here, and I'm going to hit the select once, and I'm going to hit the O key to show you the masking. So anything that is red is my selection, and this thing does a pretty good job. The light hitting the hair has made the hair, you know, a little orange, so it selected it as well because the color was close. So all you have to do is to hit the Alt button, and then you're gonna have a minus sign in this thing, and then you use it to clean out the selections you don't want. Okay, so clean out the outer selection and the little selection on the bridge. I see something small over here too, and now I don't see any red. One thing I also do is, instead of red, I just take the brush and bring the exposure all the way down, because sometimes it's easier for me to see the black. So from here, let's zoom in and make a few quick fixes, and we should be good to go. I'm going to just do 1:1 here. All right. So on any screen, when you press and hold down the space button, you get the hand, and with that you can move the image however you want. Okay, so from here you can see that it did a decent job, but it didn't do everything. So we're going to deselect the auto mask, and then I'm going to use this brush right here to fill in the parts that it didn't finish. It doesn't have to be accurate. In fact, it's better if it's not accurate. So I'm also going to hit the Alt key and make sure that the lips are not selected, because we're going to do some very mild softening of the skin, and you don't want to soften the eyes, the eyebrows, and the lips and stuff that define the face. So the corners of the nose, I try to get that off too. So once I've done that, let's take a look at the hands. Good, the hands are good. Oh, I can add a little bit of a brush to this. Alright, so I'm gonna go fit, and then from here I'm just going to double click the exposure back to the middle, and I'm going to bring the texture down, like just bring it down by quite a bit. So that this texture works almost like frequency separation. It's not like clarity that just smoothens the face. It's quite effective, and if you use it in a mild manner, especially for pictures like this, you can get some good results. All right, so now that we have the texture down, let's see the before and after. It will be very mild. This is the before, and this is the after. Very mild. At this point, I haven't made any fixes on spots on the face, and for a picture like this, you really don't need to do much. So here I'm going to hit the spot removal tool, and you select the spot that you want to remove, and make sure it's on heal and not clone, so you pick it up and you move it to a similar spot with the same texture, and what it will do is that it will take the pattern from that spot and heal, just like I'm sure most of you already know this. All right, so I'm not going to do much to this picture at all. I'm just pretty much done with the skin removal. Now it's time to do the magic dodge and burn. This trick is the bomb. It has saved me a lot, and it actually works much better on studio pictures. You should try it and see. It's just so efficient. All right, so I learned this from a landscape photographer, and I applied it on skin and it worked. I'm like, whoa, okay. All right, so what you do is let's zoom out one more time. You select the brush, and then you brush all over the face. I'm going to make this black. Okay, I'm just going to brush over. See how rough it is. Let me erase the little spots all here. All right, so I make my brush very dark so I can see. I don't like using the red mask. All right, so I brush all over the face, and so this is actually is going to be my dodge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to give it like I say 0.52 brightness. Now, this is a general brightness. You don't want that. You want the facial features to be exaggerated. So what happens is that you come down here and you turn the range mask to luminance, and then you move this slider to the right for dodge. You want everything to be on the side of the dodge. So look at what's happening. It's making the brighter spots brighter, and that automatically makes the darker spot look like they're darker. So there we go. That is for our dodge, and boom. So we already have that. So we're going to take a different brush, and then I'm going to brush over again on the face. This is going to be our burn. So I'm going to bring it up here, and then I'm going to do the general burn. I'm going to put it at like point. All right, you see 0.44. It's affecting the whole face. Now watch this. You come down and you do the same thing again, and you go to luminance, and then this time you're burning to this side. So you come down here and you pull it back. Sometimes it's a little too dramatic. So what I do is I pull this back up some, and I just go take it down. Bring it up a little bit. Now let's look at the before and after. So I haven't spent 3 hours trying to pixel, dodge, and burn, but you know, this just takes it, you know, a step up. So I'm gonna select the brushes, and then let's see a before. This is before the brushes and after the brushes. The shadows are more pronounced. I didn't have to go in there and, you know, manually brush everything in. So yeah, that is the end of the dodge and burn. And now I zoom all the way out, and this is our before image, and this is our after image. All right, thank you for watching. Do well to subscribe. You get a free preset link, and then when you click on the link, you just put in your email, and then you get an automatic email response with a Dropbox download link to the preset. And make sure that you adjust the preset right for your picture, especially the color balance. I know it will be off, and but everything else should be fine. The preset has a very mild S curve. If you think it's the contrast is too much, just take out the S curve, and then it will work just fine. All right, thank you for watching. Subscribe, stay tuned, and there's more stuff coming.